Hi friends! So I'm going to be honest, it has not been that long since my November video was filmed, but I am determined to keep to my schedule as we discussed last month, and so I am just going to come back today and jump back into working on December. So as always, I'm going to give you a quick flip through of how November looks at the end of the month, which this month was not that far from the beginning of it. But I did manage to get 3 spreads done. I was aiming for my 2 of the month goal and I got 3 done, so we're already in good shape there. It's maybe not as well set out or polished as some of the other months were towards the end, but that just comes from working with it more and adjusting and really kind of solidifying what I want out of the month. That's fine. That's something that'll come when I return to it. And for the moment, we are just going to be happy that we are moving forward. So taking a look here, we have our November divider piece, and that falls between kind of 2 pages of random little stories. And one fun thing I did here, you might remember on the back, I had this postcard that was ripped in half. And so what I did was I have it's probably hard, almost impossible to see. I have a piece of acetate in here that I could attach things to. So I don't actually have to attach anything to the postcard itself. And I put a filler card from the Practical Scrapper Destinations Girl Trip collection in here because I wanted to use the spa day card here. I thought it would work really well. So I decided to start with the Girl Trip collection. I think I also pulled in a couple of the background patterns from the In the City collection because it had a similar color scheme. And so I attached this card. Well, first I cut it so it kind of matches the edge of my postcard. And then I attached it to the acetate so that I could build on it without actually obscuring the postcard behind it. So they're both able to pull out individually now, but they stay lined up because because all of the pieces on the back are on a 4x6 acetate. And then, as I mentioned, I wanted to use the Spa Day card. And then I just kind of pulled some different pieces from the collections in order to fill in the rest of my spots. I had 2 business cards I wanted to fill in, so I needed some background images and another story that I've told here. And then once I had all of those in, I had kind of established a color scheme. And so I went to my Pink Fresh collections and pulled out some sticker sheets in order. I felt like they'd be a good match vibe-wise for the stories I was telling here. And that's something that I really like about working on this project is that I can pick kind of cards and tell the stories with one collection, but then it also prompts me to go to my physical products and find things that maybe I don't use as much or I've been saving for a special occasion and get them onto pages. So this is a pretty simple page. I'll probably come back to it. I know I have a sticker on this side that I will put on the acetate here, so I'll probably cover that up with something on the back, but we'll come back to that when we get to it. So you'll see a lot of empty spaces here still. I didn't really make a lot of progress, but I did move some things around that I wanted to highlight. So I moved some of my Ramadan pictures to fall over into this page. And I also, when going through my stuff, I found I had this Ramadan shopping bag that I thought was really cool and I'd saved it. And it has the fanous, which I love a good fanous, so that's probably what this page is going to be about. I guess it's Ramadan, it has the stars and the moon and the banners and all the different things. So I decided to go ahead and put that in here. And it was very nerve-wracking, but I cut it down originally to 12 by 12 so that it would fold in half and fit in here and I could have both sides. And then I decided I wanted it to be like just a little bit smaller than a full page. And so I cut it down to 10 by 12 so that when it's folded in half, it's 5 inches wide. And I actually have, again, another piece of just clear acetate in between to give it some stability, and it makes it much easier to get the bag in and out. So that is an addition there. And then one of the things I had showed last time was that for this field trip, I'd actually already finished this page before I made the November video. As I was putting things together, I realized that I had mixed 2 field trips together, one from November and one from December. And so I sat down, I spent a little time sorting those pictures back out, figuring out which one was which, And then I rearranged this one just a little bit to keep it with its correct dating. And what I ended up doing was I moved some of these in here. And so while I'd finished the page, well, technically this is a finished spread here for a 6x12 album, but I had kind of finished this section when it was mixed with other pictures. And when I sorted them out, I had this kind of strip here that was unfinished. And so it is still unfinished. I'm sorry, I think that's out of frame. You can't see the flip out. So this part is still unfinished here. And that just needs to be filled in probably with Ali Edwards products, because I had originally made this page with the Ali Edwards Wander story kit. And so I'll pull out my travel or maybe even more pieces of Wander and go ahead and fill those spots in. Let's see, if I scoot you over a little more, you'll be able to see the flip ups a little bit better. So I actually put another completely empty 6x12 page protector in here because I had some big kind of news or local event stories that I wanted to add for the middle of the month that didn't have a place yet. And so I decided to just add a page protector and work from there. I added a postcard from a friend. Can't remember exactly. I might have changed out this 4x12 from one that just had 2 4x6s to one that has 4x6 and then 2 3x4s. I believe I showed in the last video that I had already put this reading page in here. That's Nellie and Klim collection, and you can also see that on my Instagram with more details. And then towards the end here, I have a bunch of pictures that are just kind of around the dorm, around the city, hanging out with friends, eating food, that kind of thing. And at the moment, they're just kind of all shoved into the same place. But I don't think that's going to accommodate my stories very well. And so I feel like this will probably end up looking quite different in the end. But for now, everything's kind of in its correct general place. And then one other thing I decided to do when I started working with this is I wanted to split the album again. So I decided this was a good place to start volume 3. It has kind of the last week of November, and then we'll go into December. I'm really excited. I love this one with the pyramids on it. So this is the last of my prepared covers. I've ordered 2 more, I think. Yeah, I've ordered 2 more copies to work with for the next little bit, and then we will see how many more we need. So this was a good place to split it because I had some strong vertical photos I could order a 6x12 for. This goes into the Citadel. I had a blank back of a page here, and I decided to use that to put in things kind of related to technology and communication while I was living there. And then this was the final page I made for November. So this is very similar to what I've established so far. I've done it for September, October, November, and I intend to keep doing it, which is I used the Ali Edwards Story by the Month kit and just filled it in and then pulled some bits and pieces from my stash. So I used the Ali Edwards Digital Stories by the Month kit for November to fill in majority of the cards. The pumpkin card is actually from the Stories of Season collection this year, or class collection this year. And then I just pulled some different embellishments from my stash to fill it all in. So I have downloaded, edited, and uploaded my Thanksgiving cards to get printed again. Reminder, this was actually the only completed 12x12 page I had ever made for this year. And so I just need to reorder the photos from there. This is another kind of big change. I had originally had the full 12x12 photo across both sides, and I decided to put the other half on the inside with some more photos and also a little bit of some introduction photos there. And then that is the end of November, so we'll be picking up for December. So you can see back here I have some more pictures from this field trip that I had mistakenly put in November. So let's go ahead and take all of this stuff out. This page is full, so I don't have to work on the back of that. And I will actually go ahead and also pull the all of these volume 3 ones and now put them in another album. And so I'll put these aside because we're going to be working with them in a bit. I will put this to the side for now because we will pull out my original December pages in 12x12 pockets and just take a look at what we will be working with. Okay, so this is where we are starting in December. Everything before this is my excess photos that I culled out as I've been moving over to 6x12. So on this side, we just have one picture that has been moved, decorating the Christmas tree. Some just hanging out with friends stuff. I went to the Opera House and my ticket here. Just more kind of Christmas parties around the dorm stuff. Another big field trip here. So we'll see how this culls down. Again, a lot of vertical photos. So I will probably be using my favorite Design E, divided into, cut in half, and then divided into 4 3x6s. Another museum day, a Christmas party, and just around different places. I'm skipping some pictures of a party there for other people's privacy. This is also when I moved into my apartment in Cairo, and so I have a ton of pictures of moving and people there, and just pictures around the apartment and how we were decorating it, all different things. Yeah, so that goes through quite a few. I do think that I will probably have to do a lot of chronological rearranging for December. I feel like a lot of things I'm already noticing aren't necessarily in the order I want them, especially since I will have to divide them down into smaller spreads. And so that's definitely something I want to be aware of and spend some more time doing. After that, we move into Christmas. So some different Christmas celebrations, different trees people had put up, the different things we did on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, some different Christmas parties. We have another started spread, but this one I never got around to doing the journaling on. So again, I will probably leave this as is and then reprint the photos I want for this album. And then we have another big trip. So this was a huge moment for me. It was like one of the main places I really wanted to go to when I was in Egypt. And we went something like, it was like a 36-hour trip. A lot of the people I went with were going home right after this trip. They were only studying abroad for the semester. And so it was super whirlwind, super intense, but we had a really great time. Oh dear, I got cut off for storage space again. I believe I was somewhere around here for that. And so I have this kind of huge trip we went on. So I have a bunch of different things to work with on that. This is kind of the week between Christmas and New Year's. Then we have some New Year's Eve. And then I folded over a page here, but this back page was just all like pictures with so-and-so before they left. And so this is another thing that I definitely want to work back into more of a chronological order. But I think December is going to be a lot of fun to work with. Obviously, Christmas pages are always fun. And I have a few trips and field trips. And then I also have a big chunk of pictures about our apartment, which we just really loved and made a huge difference in our life and our socializing and all sorts of different things. And so I will probably do quite a few spreads or split some things up there. Like I said, I definitely want to do some more organizing into chronological order, so I will prioritize that. And then I have a few more things here that I've pulled. I think in the September video, I had shown that I was going through all of my kind of found pieces from when I traveled and sorting them by theme or month so that I had somewhere to start with when I was putting things together. And so I have a few more pictures that could work into this area. I have a program from the opera when I went. I have a letter from my roommate. I have a couple of Christmas cards. I have the actual contract lease from my apartment. And then a couple more student newspapers to go through to see if there's any pieces I wanted to keep from that. So that is where I am starting. I'm going to pull these out. I'm going to do some organizing by chronological order. And then I will come back and show you how it's coming together. Okay, friends, so I have about a million things going on my table here, and I really want to get some cleaned up. So I'm going to go ahead and share some things midway through and then go ahead and, keep moving forward in this progress. So first of all, these are all of my December pages. As I've laid them out, I need to go through and cut them down. and then punch them and put them into their album. So lots and lots of pages here. If I remember, I'll try and do a stat at the end. I had just a few photos, 6 photos this month that I'm going to pull out because they were redundant. So I can go ahead and I won't get rid of them as I've been doing. I'll put them into pages in the album for now, just in case I decide I want them for something else, and keep, again, moving forward. I also had a small number of photos that didn't find homes in these pages yet, but that I will keep and try to work into the album elsewhere. And then, of course, I have my 12 by 12 or 12 by 24 spread that I'd made already. I'm going to reprint these pictures as I want them to fit in the space that I've allotted them, and then this will go in my album with the other photos for now. So I am going to go ahead, cut these down, and get them back into the album so it's a little bit more manageable, and then we will come back for a flip through of where we are starting for December. So it's probably been about a week now, but you know how December and the holiday season goes. There is a definite lack of extra time to do things. So I'm just circling back now to show you kind of my before flip through of my December pages in my Study Abroad 6x12 albums. And you will see there's one page that I've already slotted some photos in because I get the digital monthly Allie Edwards Story by the Month kit, and I've been using that month to month. So I knew that was definitely something I wanted to use, and I went ahead and picked a page for it already. So if we jump right in here, I can show you that we have the plastic divider page or divider tab. And then I'm still really loving these design pages with my 3x6 photos in them. That's just a really good fit for this album, and it's holding a lot of what I wanted to include. So I do have here, this is the one that I use the Stories by the Month kit on, and it's just a kind of a collection of a variety of different things. Probably the biggest story is that I went to the opera at the Cairo Opera House. We have another museum visit, just a space to tell some other stories. But regarding the Opera House, I did have one of my first challenges. So you can see I included the ticket here, and I'm really trying to include as many of the ephemera pieces as possible, even if that sometimes includes cutting them down to include them or finding other ways. But I had the program from the opera here, and it's actually really thick because one half is in English and the other half is in Arabic. And I didn't really want to, get rid of any of it or cut it down in any way, but it's really thick to kind of insert in the middle here. And so I have decided, I might have mentioned this earlier, that I am going to use let's see if I can get it in here, the plastic 6x12 pocket from Project Life itself. I don't know if these are available anywhere, but I'm going to try and keep what actually goes in here to a minimum of things I really want to keep intact and separate, and then I will just put this at the back of probably the last album. That is my first entry into the envelope, which is the program from the opera. So yeah, just going through, you can see I have fused my pockets and cut everything down to fit. So everything is kind of more and more ready and prepared when I choose the products I want. Going in, this is when we got our first apartment, and I went ahead and put the lease right in here. This is similar to what I did in September for my Study Abroad orientation. So it flips out. I really enjoy this kind of design. This one is a We Are Memory Keepers. It fits stuff like this really well and then gives me space to put more photos and things on the inside. I'm gonna go ahead and skip a party there. Again, I have some space here to add things as I think of them or find them. This is the trip that kind of got merged in with other ones in November, if you remember me talking about that. And so I haven't really changed anything here from last time you've seen it, but I think I am going to go ahead and print a few more photos just to fill it in because there are some parts of the trip that we're missing. And then we start to move into Christmas, which is a really kind of like fun theme to pick up on here. So this is actually I'll see if I can show you a little bit better. that Christmas card that I gave out, which I super loved. I kept one for myself, which makes me happy. So I've got that tucked in there. And then I'm starting a page of photos we took before people left to go home at the end of the semester. And I think there's some more in January. And what I might do is just go ahead and add them to this page and then put like labels with the dates or something maybe, or people's names. I'm not really sure. So going into Christmas Eve. And then I have just a couple of the Christmas cards that I had saved. This one is from my grandparents. That one's from the university. So I went ahead and kind of fused this page protector down to make it just a little bit smaller and hold them kind of snugly. So that's there. And then some more Christmas stuff. This is a brunch I went to on Christmas Day. And then I left a significant amount of space here for our Christmas Day evening, kind of the dinner party we had that night at our apartment. And those are the pictures that were on the 12 by 12 spread that I had already made. So again, this is something I'm going to have to reprint, but the space is there for it. So going on the next day, actually Boxing Day, my roommate flew home. So I have some pictures there and then a letter from her. And then we go right back into a big trip. This is all kind of laid out and ready to go. I chose some pictures I want to blow up to 6 by 12 because that's just one of my favorite things in this kind of project. I did for this one, it's going to be horizontal, but it obviously has a very like horizontal shape to it. And I'm fine with that. So it'll just be sideways and it'll fit great and look awesome. This was interesting. So I've done this a couple times before, you've probably seen. And then I undid it when I made the pages and went with something else. So this is a Design G page protector, and I just folded over the vertical parts. So it's a little bit of a flap. I like it because all of my inserts are through the middle here, so this kind of moves some of the bulk out to the outside. And I think one of the reasons I didn't go with it in the past was because I didn't want to kind of hide the photos that were underneath. But these aren't great photos. Like, they're very dark and hard to see. And so I think this is a good place for it, where it kind of introduces it with brighter and lighter photos, and then as you go into the temple and it gets darker and darker, that's kind of again on the interior. This was just a hotel, and it'll have some story of our travels. This is all train shenanigans because we were very delirious by that point. So then back in Cairo, I'm gonna skip New Year's Eve because it was a party. And then on the back, I just have some excess New Year's Eve pictures. This isn't going to be the end of this album. We are going to go into January, so I'll just start January on the edge here, and I don't even care that I have several pages of New Year's because I really liked the pictures and I have some stories and stuff. So that is where this is at now. I am traveling quite a bit over December, so it'll probably be a pretty restricted month again of just trying to get my 2-page quota done. As you've seen, I've already got the 1 page laid out. Let's see. So this one is laid out and ready to go. It won't take a significant amount of effort to finish it off. And I will pick one other one, maybe a Christmas one, maybe a travel one. I have a lot of other Christmas projects for different design teams and stuff. So I might pick something more travel just for like a little bit of a palette cleanser. This is where we are for December. I'm going to wrap up this video and I will see you again next month. Thanks, friends.